Hey, what's up puzzlers? This is Steve here with another video on how to solve some logic puzzles. This one's known as a Nuri-Maze. How it works is each region is going to be completely shaded or unshaded. So if we look at these three cells in this block, they're either going to be all black or all unshaded. You can't have a mixture. Also, you can never create a 2 by 2 area of the same shade. So for instance, this is a 2 by 2 area of unshaded cells or a 2 by 2 area of black cells. That's no bueno. You can't have that. Also, all the white cells or unshaded cells must be orthogonally connected with one another. So you can't have a group of white cells like that that's isolated from the rest of the group. In addition, you can't have any loops of white cells. So what I mean by that is if we have a black group here and a bunch of unshaded cells like that, this would create a so-called loop. And we can't have that either. The next thing is all of the triangles, circles, and letters must remain white. So we can't black out any region that has a triangle, circle, or the S or G. Lastly, the objective is you're going to be creating a one cell wide path connecting the S and the G. And that path must go through all the circles, and it cannot pass through any of the triangles or any black cells. And that is it for the rules. What I'm going to go ahead and do is try to solve this example puzzle for you guys, and I'll share some common tips and tricks along the way that'll hopefully make it easier for you to solve this type of puzzle yourself in the future. Now, I did pull this exact puzzle from a recently published book of mine on Amazon. I'll post a link in the description below. Would love it if you guys would check it out. Also, if you want to try the puzzle yourself first without seeing the solution, go ahead and hit the link in the description below. It'll take you right to this puzzle. So without further ado, let's get to solving. So where would you start with this? Clearly, we're going to look at all of the cells that have triangles or circles and unshade those, or mark them as unshaded. And then the next thing I would look at is any 2 by 2 areas that have what I call elbows, like this. We know this can't be unshaded, otherwise it'd create a 2 by 2 area. So we have to make it the other color or shade it in. Same thing here, same thing there, same thing here. Well, let's continue with the elbows. So like this, right? Obviously, if we make that unshaded, that's a 2 by 2 area of the same color. Here we have 2 down here, and we have 2 above it and 2 below it. Obviously, that can't be unshaded, so we must make it shaded. Same thing down here. And we would continue with that. This cell here has to connect with the rest of the group. If we make this black, not only is that a 2 by 2 area, but we also have isolated this unshaded cell. So that has to have a path to escape. And down here, I notice this has to be unshaded. Otherwise, it'd create a big chunk of black cells, which is no good. All right, right here, same thing. We can't have this be shaded, otherwise it'd create a big 2 by 2 area. Here's another situation. We have 2 cells that's unshaded. Right next to it, we have 2 adjacent cells, so that has to be the opposite color. This cannot be black, otherwise it'd be a 2 by 2 area, so it's unshaded. This down here, whenever you have 2 regions that have 2 cells adjacent to 2 cells, they have to be opposite colors. This is a little elbow of 3 cells, so this has to be shaded in. Same thing here, we have 3 unshaded cells, so this has to be shaded so that it's not a 2 by 2 area. And same thing here, this has to be shaded. And this has to be unshaded, otherwise it'd be a 2 by 2 area. So that's unshaded. And I think that might be it for the first tip, or the first way you go about solving it. Now we have to use some different rule sets to continue going forward. So remember, there's going to be a path connecting the S to the G, and it has to go through all of the circles. So what that means is this is a little alleyway here. If you kind of follow my mouse, somehow it's going to go from this S around through the circles up here and through this circle. So this can't be black, otherwise it'd be a dead end. You go through the circle, you'd hit a wall. So this has to be unshaded. Same thing here. This can't be black because that pathway would hit a dead end. So it has to escape out. And now we've created a area where we know this is going to be shaded. Otherwise, it would be a 2x2 area. So we know that's shaded. Now we have this little elbow here of 3 cells. So that has to be the opposite color. And now this path through this circle has to continue going. If this is black, it's created a dead end. So this has to be unshaded. And now we have this cell that cannot be unshaded. Otherwise, it would create a big 2x2 area, which we can't do. This is a group of 3 cells of the same color. So this has to be shaded in. Same thing here, unshaded. And we know here, this has to be shaded off. Otherwise, it's a 2x2 area. Now, this group of unshaded cells here has to escape. If we make this black, we've isolated it. So we have to make that unshaded. We've created this little elbow here. So we know now this is shaded. Now, if we think about this cell here, if we make this unshaded, we've created a loop of unshaded cells. You can't have that. Basically, all of the unshaded cells are going to be orthogonally connected without creating any loopable areas. So this has to be unshaded. And now this circle here, if we think about the path has to go through that circle. And so if we make this shaded, that creates a dead end here, right? The loop or the path would go through this circle, and over here it'd be a dead end. Over here is a dead end. So this has to be unshaded. And where to now? So if we think about, let's see, where would I go from here? I'm thinking if we follow the line, it has to go this way, right? It can't cross through any shaded cells or triangles. So it kind of goes this way if you're following my mouse, down through here. And I think it's going to hit the G that way. Because I don't think it can go this way, because otherwise it's going to create a loopable area. And so there has to just be one unique path. And so the path can't go this way, because if this is, you know, it's just not going to work. This has to be shaded in. Now this is a 2x2 area that can't be filled in, so that has to be unshaded. This is an elbow here, so we have to shade that in. Now this triangle is isolated. We can't, we can't block it out, so we have to create an escape path for it. That's created a little elbow here, which we need to shade that in. This is a 2-cell region next to 2 unshaded cells, so we have to make it the opposite color. Otherwise, it'd be a 2x2 area. And now if we think about this S is where the path starts. It has to go down this way and around. So it can't go straight down, because then it would still have to go through this little elbowed region, and that'd be a 2x2 area. So this has to be shaded in, and the path goes around like that. And it still has to continue. This can't be black, otherwise we'd isolate the group. So that has to be unshaded. Now, if we think about the path, it can't just go from this S straight to the G. So this can't be unshaded. That would be wrong, because it would not have passed through any of the circles. So that's unshaded. And there you go. That is complete, or at least it should be. If we follow the S, we should go and go up like this, over, through the circle, around, up here, and down. And we'll check that, and that is complete. So you could see all of the unshaded cells are orthogonally connected with one another. There's no repeatable areas. So basically, it's just one path from the S to the G, not going through any of the triangles or any of the dark cells. So that's it. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I really like this type of puzzle. I think it's unique, because you have to use multiple constraints together and you're not doing the same thing over and over and over again. So from the book, I got to admit, I think these were the surprise for me. I was not familiar with this type of puzzle until I did the book, and I want to put it on my top 2 or 3 favorites in the book. So hopefully you guys liked it as well. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos like this in the future. Thanks everyone. Have a good night.